Donald Trump. The name alone evokes strong emotions. Love him or hate him, one thing is undeniable. He has amassed a formidable array of enemies. This isn't just about political differences. This is about something deeper, something that threatens the very fabric of power in America. We're talking about multinational corporations, media empires, the entrenched political elite, and the shadowy forces of the deep state, all seemingly united against one man. How is this possible? Why does this one man, a billionaire celebrity no less, inspire such visceral opposition from the world's most powerful entities? The answer lies in understanding what Trump represents, a fundamental challenge to the established order, a disruption of their carefully crafted system of control. This isn't about left versus right. This is about those who hold power versus those who threaten to take it away. And Donald Trump, with his brash defiance and his unwavering appeal to the forgotten man, stands as a direct threat to their hegemony. The question then becomes not why they oppose him, but what they stand to gain from his downfall. The answer, as we delve deeper, will reveal a web of interconnected interests, all converging on a single objective: to silence Donald Trump by any means necessary. Multinational corporations, accustomed to dictating trade deals and exploiting cheap labor, saw their profits threatened by Trump's America First agenda. His tariffs and his renegotiation of trade agreements directly challenged their bottom line, cutting into the vast wealth accumulated through decades of unchecked globalization. The political establishment, both Democrat and Republican, found their grip on power loosening. Trump's outsider status, his refusal to play by their rules, exposed the corruption and self-serving nature of the political class. He threatened their system of patronage, their revolving door between Washington and Wall Street, and the deep state, that shadowy network of unelected bureaucrats and intelligence officials, saw in Trump a threat to their unseen influence. His calls for transparency, his disdain for their clandestine operations, and his questioning of their narratives, from the Russia hoax to the intelligence community's assessments of foreign threats, challenged their very existence. Trump, in short, was a threat to the status quo, a disruptor of the established order. And those who benefited from that order, the corporations, the politicians, the intelligence agencies, closed ranks to protect their power, their wealth, and their control. He spoke directly to the people, bypassing the traditional gatekeepers of information, the mainstream media, the political pundits, the academic experts. He used Twitter like a weapon, firing off unfiltered messages, challenging narratives, and connecting directly with his base. His message resonated. He tapped into a deep well of anger and frustration among Americans who felt left behind by globalization, ignored by the political class, and betrayed by the very institutions that were supposed to represent them. He promised to bring back jobs, to stand up for American interests, to make America great again. This message, this promise, this connection with the people, terrified those in power. Here was a man who could not be bought, who could not be controlled, who answered to no one but the American people. He represented a fundamental threat to their power, a wild card they could not afford to ignore. Trump dared to challenge this orthodoxy. He questioned the need for endless wars, for trillion-dollar military budgets, for interventionist foreign policy. He spoke of peace through strength, of putting America's interests first, of bringing our troops home. This stance, this heresy against the sacred cow of the military-industrial complex, made him a target. He threatened the profits of the arms manufacturers, the power of the generals, the very foundations of the national security state. Those who profited from war, who thrived on conflict, saw in Trump an existential threat. He had to be stopped. Section 5. The globalists' grip, how they control the narrative. To understand the forces arrayed against Trump, we must first understand the concept of globalism. It's not just about free trade or open borders.
It's about a network of interconnected institutions, multinational corporations, powerful NGOs, international organizations like the United Nations and the World Economic Forum that seek to transcend national sovereignty and create a borderless world governed by a global elite.
This vision of a globalized world, while often presented as a utopian ideal, has very real consequences for national sovereignty, individual liberty, and democratic accountability.
Decisions are made not by elected representatives accountable to the people, but by unelected bureaucrats and technocrats in distant capitals, beholden to corporate interests and globalist agendas.
Trump's America First agenda, his focus on national sovereignty, and his skepticism of international institutions directly challenge this globalist vision. He disrupted their plans, exposed their hypocrisy, and threatened their grip on power.
Is it any wonder then that they would use all their considerable resources, their media influence, their financial clout, their political connections, to try to destroy him?
Section 6. Media manipulation shaping public perception. No weapon in the arsenal of Trump's enemies has been more potent than the media.
From the moment he descended the escalator at Trump Tower to announce his candidacy, he was met with a level of hostility and vitriol rarely seen in American politics.
The mainstream media, once considered the impartial arbiters of truth, abandoned all pretense of objectivity, becoming instead a relentless propaganda machine dedicated to Trump's destruction.
They amplified every negative story, no matter how dubious the sourcing, while ignoring or downplaying his accomplishments. They labeled him a racist, a sexist, a xenophobe, a Russian agent, a threat to democracy itself.
They repeated these accusations ad nauseum, embedding them in the public consciousness through sheer repetition.
This constant barrage of negative coverage, this relentless assault on his character and his presidency, had a profound impact on public perception.
It shaped the narrative, poisoned the well, and made it impossible for many Americans to see Trump as anything other than the monster the media had created.
Section 7. The Swamp Strikes Back: Political Assassination by Character. The political establishment, both Democrat and Republican, closed ranks against Trump, uniting in their opposition to this outsider who threatened their comfortable world of backroom deals, influence peddling, and self-enrichment.
They launched investigations, appointed special counsels, and impeached him twice, all on flimsy pretexts, hoping to find something, anything, to drive him from office. When that failed, they resorted to character assassination, painting him as unstable, unfit for office, a danger to the republic.
They leaked classified information, distorted his words, and spread lies about his mental state. They used every dirty trick in the book to undermine his presidency, to sabotage his agenda, and to destroy him politically.
The swamp, it seemed, would not be drained so easily. It would fight back with every weapon at its disposal to protect its power and its privileges.
Section 8. The Deep State's Shadow. Whispers of espionage and sabotage. The Deep State. The very phrase evokes images of shadowy figures whispering in dark corners, of clandestine operations, of unseen hands manipulating the levers of power.
Whether one believes in its existence or dismisses it as a conspiracy theory, there is no denying that there exists within the vast bureaucracy of the federal government a network of unelected officials with their own agendas, their own loyalties, and their own ideas about how the country should be run.
Trump's presidency, with its focus on transparency, its disdain for secrecy, and its skepticism of the intelligence community's pronouncements, posed a direct threat to this deep state. He challenged their narratives, questioned their motives, and threatened to expose their secrets.
Is it any wonder then that they would seek to undermine him, to sabotage his agenda, to protect their power and their secrets? Whispers of leaked intelligence, of fabricated evidence, of deliberate attempts to mislead the president followed Trump throughout his presidency. The deep state, it seemed, had its own ideas about who should be president, and it would use all its unseen power to achieve its aims.
Section 9. A Man of the People. Trump's enduring appeal in a war-torn world. Despite the relentless attacks, the media onslaught, the political sabotage, and the deep state's machinations, Trump remained popular with a significant portion of the American people.
His rallies were packed, his supporters were fervent, and his message continued to resonate. Why? What was it about this flawed, imperfect man that inspired such loyalty?
Perhaps it was his willingness to speak his mind, to challenge the status quo, to say what many Americans were thinking but were afraid to say out loud. Perhaps it was his promise to put America first, to bring back jobs, to stand up for American interests in a world increasingly hostile to them.
Perhaps it was his vision of a strong, proud, and independent America, free from the shackles of globalism and the endless wars of the military-industrial complex. Whatever the reason, Trump's enduring appeal terrified those in power. He represented a threat to their control, a disruption of their carefully crafted narratives, a reminder that the people still had a voice and that they would not be silenced. Section 10. The Hydra's Many Heads, a multi-front war against one man. The war against Donald Trump was not a conventional one. It was not fought on battlefields or with armies. It was a war of ideas, of narratives, of perception. It was a war waged by a Hydra-headed monster, each head representing a different facet of the establishment, the media, the political class, the deep state, the globalist elite. Each head attacked in its own way, using its own weapons. The media bombarded the public with negative coverage, shaping the narrative and poisoning the well. The political establishment launched investigations, impeached him on dubious grounds, and sought to destroy him politically. The deep state leaked intelligence, spread disinformation, and sought to undermine his presidency from within. And the globalist elite used their financial and political clout to thwart his agenda and discredit his message. It was a multi-front war, relentless and unforgiving, aimed at destroying not just Trump's presidency, but his reputation, his legacy, and his very essence. The question is, will it succeed? Or will the forces that propelled Trump to power, the anger, the frustration, the desire for change, find a new champion, one who will finish what he started? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, the war is far from over.